Yeah, g'day. Welcome to the Field of Streams, where I, your host Janeen McCrae, read a short piece of my writing to you so that you don't have to. You're welcome. And as I say at the beginning of every episode, I can't promise you much, but I can promise you this. I won't keep you long. Today is no exception, for today I am reading you a poem that I, myself, wrote. It is a short poem for heavy times. Before we get to the reading, I just want to say a couple of things. Making art or writing right now feels so pointless. Is that the right word? Self-indulgent. Actually, the word privileged comes to mind. Like, how can I be putting out dumb bits of writing about why we should make art and how you can be creative when there's just so much bad shit going on? I've been talking to a friend in Minneapolis and I feel so helpless. Overwhelmed is another good word. I am overwhelmed by everything. Making art, writing, how can we possibly do so when people are being terrorised and disappeared and killed? I've been struggling with it. Made inert, almost. What to do, how to help. What is the purpose of anything, really? Listener, I read and watch and listen to Heather Cox Richardson, an incredible historian who helps me daily put things into historical context and make sense of what's going on. And trust me, it's not a cheery briefing, but it gets me through. And on a live YouTube of hers recently, she said that it's important to keep making art, that it's vital in times of political upheaval. It's probably best encompassed by that statement, joy as an act of resistance. Here's a quote from one of those live broadcasts on YouTube. The link to Heather Cox Richardson, both her Substack and her YouTube channel, is in the description. She says, and I quote, "Authoritarians cannot rise if there are strong communities and people are acting with joy. That is, you need despair and anger in order for an authoritarian to rise. Whatever those things are that you bring to the community, do them and do them with joy. And don't stop doing the things you love because you're scared, because that actually is a form of resistance." End quote. And I suppose that while also acting as a sort of documentarian of the times by making your art and writing and singing and all that sort of stuff, the act of doing it, of finding it feels weird to call it joy, but of making your art, of working at your craft, it can also help you process the emotion and the context of the time that you're living in. I have to say that writing this poem that I'm about to read to you kind of did that for me. It was good to get it down. I started in a notebook at a cafe, looking at a blade of grass, and I finished it on my laptop in my tiny little office in California, a long way away from my friend in Minneapolis. I needed to do something. Writing is the only thing I'm good at, and that's what I'm bringing to this moment, I guess. The poem I'm about to read is called How+L, which can be read as howl when you see it in print. It's just a how with the plus sign and the L. You get it. Don't over-explain everything, Janeen. God. Howl, of course, if you know your poetry, is also the name of a famous Allen Ginsberg poem. My poem is nothing like that. How+L. How and howl. Two words that are present in my brain right now, I guess. Howl is the sound we need to be making, to protest, to express, to be heard. And the plus L, what does the L mean? I didn't really think this through, so along with it forming the word howl, which it was just a happy accident, I guess the L could stand for love, but also the L could be for looking out, which is what people are doing. They're looking out for neighbours. I am inspired by the people of Minnesota, of Minneapolis and St. Paul. I'm humbled by them. The networks and grassroots and courage of what's happening despite the danger. We, as observers from afar who feel powerless in our bodies, must not look away, despite how overwhelming it is. We cannot abandon our humanity or scroll past evil. It creeps toward us regardless. I am no soothsayer or Nostradamus or... I can't see into the future. I don't know what's going to happen. These are scary times. And while I might struggle with the point of making art while people are in peril, I did find it therapeutic to write this poem, as I said. It made me think about the specificity of what these people are doing and what they, and all of us, are up against in this moment. This intro feels heavy. I'm so sorry, but this is heavy. Let me attempt to add a little bit of levity. In writing this and attempting to pepper it with Minnesota flavour, I learned that the state bird of Minnesota is the common loon. The 4 calls of the loon are hoot, yodel, wail, and tremolo. There's a subtle nod to the common loon in this poem by a little old play on words. Or maybe it's not so subtle at all. Whatever. It's play on words with a not so playful theme. And here we are back into the darkness. Okay, enough padding. Let's get into this short reading. And people, make your art. Document this moment in any way that moves you. Make posters, make music, write a poem. If you can't be on the streets, be a different kind of observer, an observer of history through documentation, through art. Share it or don't share it, that's up to you. I choose to share this poem. I'm no Bruce Springsteen, so I can't sing it, but I will now read to you the poem written by yours truly, called, as I mentioned, How+L. How+L. How simple a blade of grass. Seed and sprout and outstretched arm, roots networked through gaps and cracks, stalked witness to this armed and frigid day. Stem and root, sheath and blade, swept up, mown down, raked straight into the machinery to gum-chew their lie, itching at the ankle of poisoned conscience. Whipping at the faux denim shins of a thug-faced goon. How simple. How pure the bird calls. Hoot and yodel and wail and tremolo. Breath over beak to broadcast Midwest mayhem. Maybe. Rising, falling, its echo lifts in air, the agonizing wake-up wail, warning of lunacy that is anything but common. Megaphone of whip and will, alert to icy creep to pierce the morning quiet of our cereal comforts. How pure. How strong the aroma, the freshly peppered nostrils of new capsaicin sommeliers, panic spritzed and catching bouquets accidental of authority's signature scent. No fruity whiffs, no wood-soaked odour. Just the stench of rot made visible with every orange blow. No notes, just nose. Resistance has a perfume. How strong. How bright the dark. Starlight and pinholes stab at inky placard sky. Masked unfamiliars orbit, fat with menace, to beat at the threads of our delicate web. A militant and dirty oil in our joyous Milky Way. One by one lights flicker as streetlights, as eyes, flashing to observe and shine with love, steady and together to make clear the vision, to blink out the darkness and illuminate the rage. How bright. How peaceful this swell, how fertile this soil, how clean this wind. How long this road, and us upon it, surrounded by madmen. And there you have it, today's episode. Oh, fitting. The alarms are going off, everybody. The alarms are going off. Stay safe, everyone. Talk out your feelings with each other. And if you know someone in the Twin Cities specifically, reach out. Do a wellness check. Just let them talk. Be available. Trust me, that's something solid you can do. If you'd like to share my poem, there's a link to the print version in the description, or the online version technically. Or you can just share this podcast. And on that note, love what you love, and I hope to continue seeing you out there making stuff.